Hello again everyone, this is what's becoming a weekly review of the various LPs I've managed to find at car boot sales in West Yorkshire, and this Sunday I managed to get a reasonable haul of about a dozen albums, some of which are rather interesting, some of which may be ending up at the charity shop, but they were all pretty cheap. They were all about £1, £1.50 at the most, and I was pleased to get some of them, though I have to say I missed out on a great haul of a guy must have bought about 30 LPs. He was just ahead of me, very early in the morning. Didn't think anybody else would be there, but he'd found the bargain bucket before I did, and he was snaffling up stuff like Magical Mystery Tour with its original booklet, Jefferson Airplane, Surrealistic Pillow. I didn't dare look at the rest because I don't think I'd sleep tonight if I did, so if I do sound disappointed, I'm sure you understand why, because he got them all for £1 each, and it was in a bin with lots of good condition stuff, so I was left with very much second pickings, but even they were pretty good, and I hope you'll agree. This was one of them, Jimi Hendrix, Smash Hits, an album released in '69 during his lifetime. It doesn't include all the hits. I know that Voodoo Child isn't on there, for instance, or Voodoo Chili, as Jeremy Paxman once pronounced it. But interesting collection on a nice thick card sleeve, real heavyweight vinyl from the late '60s. Not sure if the album will play that well. There are one or two very light scratches on it. It does seem a bit worn to my eye, but you never know till you spin it. I've given it a clean in my record cleaning machine, the Sudzomatic as I call it, and it might improve it, but I haven't given it a spin yet. If it doesn't play, I'm sure I'll get a fiver for it at a charity shop, and it only cost me £1. Next one is another Hendrix album. This was released after his death. It's called 9 to the Universe, and it's got a lot of really what I suppose are basically studio jams, blues jams on it. There's tracks called Drone Blues, Easy Blues, that sort of thing. I don't think a lot of that stuff was intended for release, though it is interesting if you're a Hendrix fan, and it doesn't feature the Experience apart from Mitch Mitchell. There's people like Buddy Miles and Billy Cox, and more of a jazz influence really. I think Hendrix was growing towards the end of his life. Who knows what direction he would have gone in. So it's interesting for Hendrix collectors, and it is in a really good condition as well, so I was pleased to get that for £1. Next one, Fleetwood Mac. This is the album they made with Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks before they became mega famous with Rumours. It's not an album I know very well actually. I'll have to. I'm looking forward to giving this a spin. I mean, there's tracks like Say You Love Me and Sugar Daddy. I know those. Rhiannon, of course, very famous track. But I'm not overly familiar with the album as a whole, so I'm looking forward to playing that one. It's a bit of a gap really in my collection. Next one, Blue Oyster Cult. Their self-titled 1972 LP. I'm assuming this is their first album actually. I don't know it, but I do like Blue Oyster Cult. A lot of their stuff I find very good. I think if you're going to have heavy metal, I think Blue Oyster Cult do it better than most, and with intelligence, and they're great players as well. So I'll give that a spin, see what that's like, see what's on it. Cities on Flame with Rock and Roll. Nothing I actually recognise in terms of tracks, but I know they could be a bit apocalyptic in the earlier days, and I think it's the double live album, On Your Feet or On Your Knees, is pretty merciless, but I'll look forward to giving that one a go. Next up, Medicine Head. I like these two. It's a duo, Very sparse instrumentation, very bluesy, and I don't think it's dated very much really. It's that kind of classic form to it which makes it very listenable. This is a collection of their stuff. Got some of the singles on, like Slip and Slide and One and One is One, but I haven't heard any of their albums, so happy to give that one a spin. It's in great condition. Now, here's an album I already have. Yes, I've got to the stage now where I'm buying albums that I've already got. So this one is in much better condition. The sleeve is slightly worn there, might be repairable. But apart from that, it's in really good nick. Let's have a look here. Yeah, I think the sleeve is actually in better nick overall than the one I have, and the vinyl certainly is. I think that's probably an upgrade, and the old one can go to the charity shop. I think this is a good album actually, and I quite like Jethro Tull. I was amazed to discover how much I did like them, because I always thought them a bit boring when I was buying these records for the first time many years ago. But the actual track Aqualung is a bit of a classic. It covers an entire first side, and your interest doesn't flag for a minute. It's very well put together, very intelligent. I like that stuff, particularly around this era. I like Thick as a Brick, the one with the newspaper that was given away, but I haven't found that one cheap enough yet. Total Contrast, Iggy Pop, Lust for Life. Great album he made with David Bowie in Berlin, and really you can't listen to David Bowie stuff, you know, the Low and Heroes albums, Lodge album, without hearing this kind of thing as well, because it was very much influenced by Bowie, and it's a great record. And it's a companion album as well, Iggy Pop, The Idiot, and you can see the record company were keen to promote the idea of David Bowie's association with it, produced by David Bowie in a big, it's not even a sticker actually, it's actually part of the album cover. So I can't remove that and take the H&B sticker off, but that's part of the album. So really I suppose diminishing Iggy Pop's impact there, but that became part of the album cover, produced by David Bowie. And that's a bit more of a hardcore, uncommercial record compared to Lust for Life, but still well worth having. Here's an interesting one. After Jim Morrison's death, the rest of the Doors got together and produced a record basically setting music to some of Morrison's lyrics. This is a nice gatefold sleeve, as you can see, pictures of Morrison, and it's got all the inserts as well, lyrics, and a whole booklet here, which is nice to have if we can get it out. There's all the lyrics on, drawings, photographs. I don't know if the Lizard King is your thing, but this was only £1. Quite pleased to get that at such a bargain price. Condition looks good, so hopefully that'll be a keeper. But I'll give it a go. It's a long time since I've heard it. Let's get that one over there. And Hendrix again, The Cry of Love, one of his great studio albums. It's cost me £1.50, and I'm glad to get this one. I just hope it plays alright, because as I say, Hendrix, like the Stones, you often find are pretty knackered by the time they've made it to the car boot sales. Someone once told me that the reason why Beatles albums are sometimes in good condition and Stones albums aren't is that the Stones were a party band, and everybody took their records to parties and played them on knackered old dance sets with rusty styluses. And maybe the same applies to Hendrix, but hopefully that one will play okay, we'll see. And here's Fleetwood Mac again, but an earlier record, with I think a great cover, really striking cover. Opens up of course to the gatefold, the obligatory band group shot, no expense spared, even though the band were in something of the doldrums at this time. I think this was the Bob Welch era, Bob Weston era, yeah, after Peter Green had left but before Buckingham and Nicks had joined, so we were searching for some sort of direction. An album I don't know, but I shall be interested to play it. I'm glad I got it. Love the cover. And finally, The Faces, Rod Stewart and The Faces live, Overture and Beginners. Now, this is not a great live album, I know. In fact, it's probably got the worst ever Tamil Motown cover of all time on it. In I Wish It Would Rain, they absolutely slaughter that Temptations song. And I think they even released it as a single, so they must have been quite proud of it, but it's not their finest hour. But the record as a whole is a good document, really, I think, of a great live band, one I never saw live, and I wish I had, because I think they would have been fantastic to see. Such a riotous, drunken party atmosphere. Hopefully some of that will come across on the record. Although I'm not a great fan of live albums generally. I do make the odd exception for the exceptional bands, and I think the Faces were an exceptional band. I love the stuff really, and well, you could never say they've never made a bad record, but they've made an awful lot of good ones. I hope some of that spirit's intact on here. So there you have it. 12 albums. Cost me about, well, 15 quid, which is the price of a brand new CD, I suppose, unless it's in the top 10. So I think that's quite a good deal. Anyway, let me know what you think, and hopefully I'll be posting some more updates as and when I find some more bargains, and maybe if I get up a bit earlier than I do normally on a Sunday morning, I might find some really good stuff. Okay, bye for now.